Hi guys, you're welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Yvonne Princess Trabango. If you are new here, you're welcome to like, subscribe, share, and comment. And voila, you're part of the graceful, the beautiful, and the wonderful family. We are back with another video. And today we're talking about something that we all scared of. All of us, the whole world, even you included. I'm going to talk about death. I'm going to talk about what happens after death, right? I've had this question for so many years. Like I remember at one of my friends' parents' funeral, right? I asked myself, and I even asked one of the people that I was standing next to, I'm like, do you think this is it? Like we live our lives, we become good people, we do everything we can to keep the light, to spread the light, and then all there is us going back to dust, us being buried, and that's it. You spend your whole life actually trying to be a good person only for you to die, you know? I consistently ask myself that question, what then happens after, right? I ask myself, I think I've been asking myself this question for the past 2 years. And then surprisingly, when I went to get some of my books for the December reading and all of that, I came across this book. I stumbled upon this book by Rick Warren. Yeah, this book by Rick Warren. It's titled the purpose-driven life, right? A life driven by purpose, right? Guys, this book is a life changer. I'm not done with it. I'm still yet to review the book, but it's absolutely beautiful, right? So I've been asking myself, like, what is this? You just come here, you do the good things, you do everything right, only for you to die. What happens, right? And then in one of the chapters that he, I think it's in chapter 3, no, actually it's not chapters, it's days, right? You have to read this over 40 days. So on day 4 he says made to last forever, right? And then he says Ecclesiastes, hey guys, please forgive me on that one, 3 verse 11 says God has planted eternity in the human heart, right? Meaning God created us for us to live an eternal life, right? Then it answered my question, is there anything after this? You know, this can't be it. Because I'd always ask myself, is this it? This is it. Like, it's done, it's over, right? And the answer to that is there's more. There's more beyond this world that we live in, right? And then after I read this part where he says there's more, God actually planted eternity, then I took myself on a joyride to actually read more about the process of dying. I know we're all afraid of dying, and I know that nobody wants to die, nobody wants to lose their loved ones. But guys, the things that I discovered about death are actually beautiful, especially as a child of God, or especially as a person that you have lived your life purposefully and you've lived your life the right way, right? I don't know what that means to you, right? Then one of also in Will Smith's book Will, he speaks of how when his dad was dying, you know, he had to learn more about death in one of the characters that he was preparing for. But also he actually took initiative to learn more about death for his dad, because his dad had about 6 weeks to live, right? Then he started implementing these things that he was reading about, researching about, right? One of the biggest things is actually giving people permission to die. Guys, I was like, what? People need permission to die? Like how, Sway, you know? But as I continued to read, you know, I understood that sometimes people fight so hard to take their last breath, or they fight so hard to stay because they feel like we won't be able to manage without them. They feel like we're not yet ready to let them go. But in the last days, right, usually it happens with elders. I'm not sure about younger people, but I know with elders, they know when it's their time up. They try to bring people together. They try to get their house in order. They ask for forgiveness. They pass certain messages. Then you see that actually a person is trying to actually ask for permission, right, to actually allow themselves to go, but also ask for other people to let them go. Because sometimes we hoard people, like, oh no, you know what, I still need you. But when you actually validate that person and actually say you've done a good thing, you've ran a good cause, right? Actually remind them, you know, what the word says. Remind them that actually there is more beyond here. You've done your path on earth, and it's only just the beginning. Your life begins here. But also affirm them that you're grateful for everything they've ever done. And then it allows them to go knowing that they did something with their lives. It allows them to go knowing that actually they did a good job, right? And also it reminds me, there's this assignment I was helping my mom with. My mom works with elders, right? Like she works for an old age nurse, right? There's this assignment that we're doing together, so I was helping her with the research. And then also it spoke about the dying process, the phases, right? The phases of how people die, especially like in old age homes, how it's important that their loved ones are there. It's how it's important for their loved ones to give them permission, how it's important for their loved ones to affirm them, and how it's important for their loved ones to actually say, you came, you raised me, you did what you could, and I'm happy, and it's okay. You can go. Because half the time they'll hold on because they think we still need them. Sometimes it just takes you saying, thank you. I appreciate you. You did your part. I can take it from here. Even Will speaks about how his last sentence to his dad was not sentence, like one of the last words he said to his dad was that, thank you. You've done your part. Don't worry. I will look after everybody you love. You know, I'll look after everybody you love. And when he heard those words, he was like, you know what? I'm good. This is great. This is awesome. I've done my part, right? So it's a whole process. And I think when I was helping my mom with this assignment, right, I was actually shocked, come to think of it, that you can actually help people die. I know it's creepy, like, yeah, but you can actually help people die a peaceful death, right? So there's a lot of, like, you guys can read about it, right? There's only so much I can say because I'm also learning about it, right? But there's a lot of ways to actually help people die a peaceful death. And also when they've lived a fulfilling life, sometimes they don't need you to assist them. They're not worried. Usually people that have lived a peaceful life, especially elder ones, where like they've done the best they can, they were good people, they don't need that part. They usually just leave you with a good message, or they leave you with an instruction, and then they go in peace. But usually elders that have had things that they were insecure about, things that they were not sure about, things that they hadn't done properly and all of that, they usually need you to let them go. They usually need you to let them know that they did the best they can, or they could at the time, and you allow them to go, right? So, and then also another revelation I came across, it's like, actually, we are not here for a long time. This is not our home, right? We were actually predestined for eternity. Here's why also. When you're in your mother's womb, you're being prepared for the earth. Imagine, like, I wonder, actually, it's unfortunate I can't remember, but I wonder how your mind operates as a unborn child in your mother's child. Are you aware, in your mother's womb, are you aware that you're gonna exit? I don't know. Or is it a question of, this is it? Like, I wonder what, actually, I wish scientists could actually tell us what happens in the child's brain, but it's unfortunate. This is like a godly orchestrated thing, so it's mysterious. But I'd always want to know what happens in a child's mind. Do they, in an unborn baby's mind, do they think they're going to come out? Do they know that they're going to come out? You know, besides the fact, obviously the parents know that they're going to come, but the child, what happens with the child, right? So I came to this revelation that the same way when you're in your mother's womb, you are prepared for the next life, which is the earth. This is the same way when you're on earth, you're being prepared for your eternal life, right? And here's the thing. Half the time we do things carelessly. You know, I do what I want. I don't care who said what. You treat people badly. You do this, you do this. Because you will account. There ain't no way you can do so many horrible things or so many good things and not account for them at some point. Might not be in this world, but you will account. And this is also me saying, give your life to Christ. If you don't want to give your life to Christ, good, that's good for you. Anyway, we have liberty. That is why Jesus died for us, right? But live a dignified life, man. Like, live an honorable life. Live a life that has good principles. You know, if you have an issue with the name Jesus, good, let's get that out of the way. But live a principled life, a life that is full of love, a life that is full of respect, a life that is full of kindness, a life that allows you to allow other people to be, a life that is like a beautiful life. Live a life filled with love. Basically, that's what I'm saying, right? And then also, I watch some YouTube videos. I'm like, this is a real thing, whereby this old lady says she technically went to heaven for 11 hours, right? She died. Clinically, she died. That's the thing. There's clinical death and there's spiritual death. You always hear people that say, my spirit died, but they still walking, they still moving. So she died a clinical death for like 11 hours. Her heart was out. Then she went, she says God took her through heaven, and also God took her through hell, right? And then the catch of it, she was able to come back to earth because God said, you know what, giving you another chance, go and spread my word, go and inform other people and all of that, right? But also she was able to see her loved ones, and then she said she lost her child when she was about 5 months pregnant. 5 months, actually the child was 5 months old. She lost her child, was 5 months old. So in heaven, she saw this toddler was running around, and she was like, God, but who is this? And God said, this is your child. And this child had actually died 48 years ago, but in heaven they're a toddler. And then God explained how in heaven, actually even the Bible, like I think even the analogy of life in general, it tells you that in heaven there isn't time. You know, it's like you're not subject to time. You know how now a year, you add on a year, you age, you wrinkle, and all of these things. Yes, that's your body, right? That's a body that, like, it's the tent of your soul, right? But the day your soul reach its rightful place, which is heaven or hell, if you are not doing the right things. So when you reach heaven, you actually reach a state of happiness, a state of not growing, not ungrowing. I don't know how to put it, but yeah, you remain as self, right? So yeah, and then she spoke about her experience, and then she's like, God took her to hell as well, which was a horrible experience. And like, she was like, you know what, it was so traumatic. But when she came back to earth, she made it mandatory that she would share the word of God with any person she comes across, because guys, eternity is a real thing. We were created to live forever. Yes, our flesh, our body will die. Like, you're likely to live about 100 years. You know, at max you can take it to 120. I haven't had a person that has lived 120 years, but I know 100 is like standard procedure, right? You can live as long as that, but your soul lives on. Your soul was created to live for eternity. That's why it says God planted eternity in a human's heart. So when you do things that you do, you must always remember that there is life after here. You know, I don't get to ask like, I'm not bothered anymore, because I'd always be like, God, why do we have to be so good? Why do I need to forgive? Why do I need to love? Why can't I revenge or avenge myself? Why can't I do this? And God is like, this is for your own soul. If you want to avenge, you can avenge. If you want to do bad things, you can do them. But you need to understand that in eternity, that's the state you're going to stay in. If you were doing all of these horrible things and all of that, you are going to stay in hell. If you were doing these good things that are pleasing to the Lord and all of that, you are going to stay in heaven. So everything we do, we must be cautious that there is an afterlife. I'm not trying to scare you or trying to say people must behave a certain way, whatever the case may be, but live a diligent and a good life, man, a purposeful life, you know, so that even if you die, I always say this, I know, and I'm not dying, guys, don't be misconstruing my content. Then you guys say, yo, she's now feeling herself, which she's gonna die. But I always say, in the state that I'm currently in, if anything were to happen to me, I'll die a happy person. You know why? Because I live the life that I believe God designed for me. I'm not in anyone's shoes. I'm not in anyone's life. I'm not trying to please anyone. I'm not trying to be on anyone's lane, right? So I think it's very, very important that you understand that you're created for eternity. And for you to die a happy person, you need to do good and you need to do better. And here's another thing, guys. People think they won't account. You will account for every single thing that you've done. You will account. And then this book also, The Purpose-Driven Life, right? This book, it also talks about how we always feel like death is this horrible experience, and then we're like, oh my God, this person is dying. Yes, you are going to feel like that because like that's your flesh. That's like, those are human feelings and stuff like that. But actually, death, usually people that know have lived a fulfilling life, they are happy to die because they know they are going to their final home. That's why you hear most of the time elders like our grandparents or people that die old, usually they tell you that it's okay, I'm going to my place of rest, you know. I think I give you guys a quick story time. Funny enough, right? Actually, I thought about this. My mom once had this I don't know, near-death experience, actually, right? I think I was in primary school. I was in grade 7. And she became so ill, right? She became so ill. She got hospitalized and stuff like that. But the doctors couldn't tell what was the issue. They didn't know what was going on with her, right? So then she went to the hospital and stuff. Yeah? And then now she has all of these machines on her and all of these things that are happening, right? And then they're busy trying to like stabilize her condition, but it seems as though it's getting worse and worse. And then she tells me that she saw my grandmother. She saw my grandmother, like she saw my grandmother come to her. Like she was laying there, her eyes closed and all of that. Then she saw my grandmother come to her. So my grandmother approached. And mind you, my grandmother has passed on. My grandmother passed on, I don't know how many years before I was even born. This is her mother. And then she says she saw her mother and her grandmother, right? So she saw them approach. And then when they were approaching, right, I think she had given in to death, right? She was ready to die. And then she says she had them, like she had their voices so loud. And then they were like, go back, you're not done. And then that's when she woke up and she was in shock at the fact that she was in all of these machines and she didn't understand. She was in coma, actually. Yes, she was in coma. And then she was shocked. She was like, Haibo, like, what's happening? When did I go into coma and stuff like that? So actually, when I started reading those things and remembering that this once happened to my mom, I actually believe that actually there is life beyond earth, which is why it's important how we carry ourselves, which is why it's important for us to live a fulfilled life, a purposeful life. No pressure in trying to figure out what your purpose is, but I would say I'd rather die having lived in purpose rather than die not knowing what my purpose would have been, you know? So yeah, I don't know, guys. What do you guys think? I think this is an interesting conversation. What do you guys think happens after death? Do you have your analogies? Do you think people just die, it becomes black? Like, what's the level? What do you guys think? I know you guys have some thoughts on this. Let me in, let me know. I'm going to continue reading about it. I'm going to continue researching about it. But I think my heart of heart, the whole idea of the fact that you can actually prepare a person to die peacefully, I think I like the sound of that. You know, if I can make your death better, if I can make your death a peaceful death by actually forgiving you, by telling you you did a good job, by affirming you, I think that's a good experience. Because even when that person passes on, you don't have a horrible memory. Your last memory is you actually saying, you gave me. Now I'm giving, I'm pouring, I'm actually saying you did a good job and I appreciate it, you know? Anyway, guys, don't forget to be loved, don't forget to be liked, do not forget to be kindness, and God bless you. Mwah.